almost 12 minutes. Almost 12 minutes we waited on drinks. Now, this was after our order had been taken, after the food order had been delivered to the kitchen, and while we watched 5 other employees of the same restaurant sitting 2 tables over just having a chat because the place was empty. I'm J Loren Norris for Leading Leaders Podcast. My question for you today is, do you know what the law of the lid is? John Maxwell uses this very same visual when he talks about the law of the lid. It's his concept from the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. In fact, if you haven't read that book or watched those videos or been to that training, get yourself there. But the law of the lid basically says no organization, no team, no leader, no business can grow beyond the maximum growth of its current leader. So if your lid is in communication, or your lid is in training, or your lid is in teamwork, or your lid is in business understanding of systems, whatever your lid is, whatever's stopping you personally as the manager or the leader is holding down your entire organization and team. Saturday night after we finished a wedding, we stopped at a Buffalo Wild Wings down in Waxahachie. That's a common thing for our DJ team to stop at Buffalo Wild Wings because they're open till 1 o'clock and it's a good place to grab a bite to eat after you've done 7 or 8 hours of setting up and tearing down equipment and DJing and emceeing a wedding and watching all these people mill around, and they're all eating, and most of the time we don't get a chance. So we stop at Buffalo Wild Wings, we walk in, we place our order. We've done this so often, everybody on the team already knows what they want to order. We don't even need the menus. So by the time we sit down at the table, we know we're late. We know that it's close to kitchen closing time, so we want to get in our order as fast as we can. And this young guy comes over and he says, "Can I take your order?" And we said yes. And we told him we're ready to order our meal as well if you're ready to take that. And so we start going through the menu items and we're telling him what we want, and he's writing things down furiously, and you can see a little bit of confusion on his face because we're more clear on what the menu items are and offer than he is, but he's making them as fast as he can. He goes to the kitchen, he comes back, and he tries to explain that you can't order a snack size wing order with 2 different flavors because you can't split 5 evenly. And we said, no, actually that order, if you'll look at your notes, says mix the flavors together on those wings. He's like, oh, can we do that? I said, yeah, you can do that. We do it all the time. He said, great. Forgive me, it's my first day. So he makes his second trip to the kitchen. He comes back a few minutes later. He's like, okay, your order is in. It should only be a few minutes. We still don't have drinks on our table. We're watching as he's cleaning up and serving final tickets to 2 or 3 other people, and we're watching as the team of Buffalo Wild Wings servers and hostesses all gather at a table only 2 tables over from us. And they're all just chatting. They're still on the clock, I can tell, because when somebody comes in to be served, they pop up and run to them and make sure that they have a table, but then they come back to gather again. Or they pop up and grab some napkins for somebody at another table, but then they gather again. But what none of them has done yet is bring us drinks. And so we sat for about 12 minutes with no drinks. Then we saw the manager come out because it was getting close to closing time. We've now been here over 20 minutes, and he's locking the doors to the building to make sure no one else can come in because it's that close to closing time. But he didn't stop at our table. He didn't notice that we still didn't have drinks. He didn't notice that we still didn't have food yet. And so someone from our team got up, went into the kitchen, and they're like, hey, if you're locking the doors, can we at least get our food and eat it before you throw us out? Because we still have a long drive. We don't want to have to drive and eat at the same time or eat it in an hour when we get home. And the manager comes behind him in the kitchen and scolds him for being in the kitchen. Never addresses the table, never addresses us, never says a thing. Finally, the young man comes back and brings us our drinks. A couple of times it's gone so long I get my own refill and he doesn't even notice, and nobody on the rest of the team says, hey, can I get that for you? No, they just watch me walk back there and fill my drink and sit down again. It doesn't seem to bother them at all that we have to serve ourselves. So as we finally finish our meal, I looked at the young man who's serving our table and I said, how long have you been waiting tables? He said, oh, I've been waiting tables 3 or 4 years. This is just my first day at this particular location. I said, well, where were you before you came here? He said, at a country club. I said, how long would your banquet manager or your restaurant manager have tolerated a team of serving staff sitting in the dining area while customers have no food or no drinks? He said, not for a second. I said, does that fascinate you? He said, absolutely. If you work in any kind of food service or any other kind of business, and as a manager you tolerate customers going without while team members do nothing, you are the lid. Now, I don't know the manager at the Waxahachie Buffalo Wild Wings. He never bothered to come by our table. He never said a word to us as the last people in the building, locked the doors around us, turned on the lights, and turned off all the televisions. But he had nothing to say about our food service or our drink service or the amount of time that it took us to get served, even though we were the last ones in the building. Sir, you are the lid to your business. And the growth of your business, the growth of your opportunity is capped by your nonchalant behavior toward your customers. I don't know what business you're in, ladies and gentlemen, but the law of the lid will apply to you, whether it's communication skills, systems understanding, or people skills. It will never grow beyond your ability to grow. And if you don't have a leadership coach or a communications coach working in your business right now, just understand there's nothing in your business going to grow until you do. I'm J Loren Norris for Leading Leaders Podcast on Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.